TPCSI fans, you want to revolutionize your sports investing habits? Allow me to tell you about WagerWire. WagerWire is an app that helps you become a superior bettor by allowing you to sync all your sports books and track all your bets in one place. See your current action, your betting history, and stats. You could also sign up for sports books and collect bonus offers. Follow them at WagerWire on X, as it's the best account on the platform. Head to App Store or Play Store now and search WagerWire and download the app.
Jared, hey, we're gonna need you to tone it down with the Summer Friday thing, okay?
What are you talking about?
Well, for one, it's not summer anymore.
Oh, really?
Coconut. Also, who is this?
I'm the caddy.
Oh, he's my intern.
Sorry, intern. I'm his intern.
Yeah, he's doing a great job.
No golfing in the office, okay? Summer Fridays are over. You can keep the Hawaiian shirt, but the rest of this stuff, all right? Are you grilling?
Oh, yeah. Did you want a burger or a hot dog?
No, grilling in the office.
It's a good point. We should take this outside.
No, that don't. You put that right back down.
Yo, it's all in the hips.
Oh, dude, come on, we gotta go. Let's go.
Excuse me, Mr. DJ.
Hey, check this out. We got a great show coming your way.
From the EHHH Sports Studios, the #1 sports information program in America, the Breakfast Bankroll, with your host, the sports broker, Jeff Dawson.
Good morning, sports fans from all around the globe. I am the host, Jeff Dawson, East Coast Sports Investors, and it's that time of the week for the Breakfast Bankroll with the one and only Mr. Andrew McInnis as we cross the border heading on to, I would assume, a frigid cold Canada. It's cold on Cape Cod. We're getting the Rocky Balboa outdoor cardio going in the morning. So I literally got my cardio and I jumped right into the studio. Didn't want to be late. So got my Army Navy hat, my scarf, my vest. I'm ready to go. First and foremost, a shout out to our proud sponsor and partnerships. It's WagerWire. Head on over to Google Play. Download that app. It's free. I promise you we'll take great care of you. Viva Tequila Seltzer. Last week, they introduced Limon. In the summer, coconut, 6 flavors now. CT Bets Austin, that team, family second to none. Come join them, of course. And last but not least, of course, Terry Smith, Atlanta Steaks and Seafood. Jump on over to Facebook, introduce yourself to Terry, and then head on over to Atlanta Steaks and Seafood and place an order. Use the promo code STEAKS10. Get 10% off your whole order. Steaks, chops, appetizers, seafood, you name it. Place an order today. You'll be grilling by Thursday kickoff on the NFL. So without further ado, let's bring him in. Andrew McInnis. What's up, Andrew?
Mr. JD, what's going on? Rocky Balboa, how are you?
Hey, I'm feeling good, feeling great. I'm getting ready. I'm training for Drago. How's that sound?
I love it. That's going to be a tough matchup. It's going to be a tough matchup. I like it, though. We've got a big slate today in the NHL. I actually got a decent primetime NFL game, which was nice to see. And a bunch of unders yesterday in the NHL. So you know what that means tonight. Hopefully some goals are on the horizon.
Yes, you're wondering why we're set up this way. We're going to dive right into a little game I'd like to play today. Head on over to wagerwire.com/graphs. I figured, it was a fun game to watch last night. As the headline says, Bo knows football as Broncos send Browns limping back to Cleveland. I really feel for Jameis. I do. He is really woken up that team. The team has rallied behind him. Cleveland's got a big, tough spot to do. The hardest part in life is admitting when you're wrong, when you made a mistake, and especially when there's a dead cap hit of, many millions of dollars. But I think it's pretty obvious. And the first question to you is, if you're Cleveland, isn't Jameis your quarterback next year and you're moving off of Deshaun?
Well, I think that in the NFL, it comes to a point where you have to realize, like you said, the mistakes you've made financially and just worry about wins, worry about putting fans in the seats. People like Jameis. People like watching Jameis play. People are excited to see his interviews. That should mean something just in its own. But looking at what he's able to do, I mean, here's an example, Jeff. Yesterday, as you know, I had the over in the game. He throws a pick six, and then he goes ahead and leads the team to a touchdown drive the next time they get the ball. I mean, you got to love that. You got to love a player that can throw a pick six, absolutely put that in the rearview mirror, as you'd say, forget about it, and then go down and score a touchdown the next time he gets the ball. So it really just depends on how stubborn they are, would you say? I mean, it depends on how much they're going to say, we have our guy, but then again, there's a lot of quarterbacks in the league that we've been saying this for a long time with. And one of those quarterbacks is now on the Minnesota Vikings. So, I mean, there's a lot of quarterbacks that you think that probably are going to lose their role that don't end up losing their role for a long time. And then sometimes the team gets bailed out, you hate to say this, by an injury happening to that player.
Well, I just think we've seen enough of Deshaun Watson and such the PR hit that they took bringing him in, and he just hasn't fired. Not that the Browns are going anywhere. They also, too, have had a lot of injuries. But I just think moving forward, just rip the Band-Aid off. And I'll take it a step further. I've been promoting this the last couple of weeks. I think we're going to see the same thing in Atlanta, where they got a 4-year deal. I don't know the guaranteed money for Kirk Cousins, but they immediately drafted Michael Penix Jr. The wheels are falling off in Atlanta. I think wherever a new head coach goes to a team that's going to be drafting a quarterback, if they have enough say in the matter, I think Kirk Cousins will be available. I keep saying if Bill Belichick ends up in New York at the Giants, say, hey, let's bring Cousins in. Let's give us that seasoned veteran quarterback so we can compete immediately. And let's draft a quarterback and then hand him a clipboard a la Patrick Mahomes and some others and let him get at least 1 year of seeing the NFL from the sidelines.
Well, you're right. That's definitely one thing that we learned when you talk about Bill Belichick there, Jeff. One thing we learn across all sports for the most part, when a really veteran head coach takes over a team, typically they're not going to take over a team that's bottom of the barrel, right? They're not going to take it over when it's a bunch of young guys on that team. They're going to jump in with experienced players because they're a veteran coach. How many years do you think Bill wants to come back to coach for? Do you think he wants to come back to coach a rebuild? He's coming back to hopefully, have a 1 or 2, 3 years where they're relatively competitive, or they only get better and better each time. So, and that is so interesting because, and I don't know what the exact numbers are either. I'm sure we could look it up real quick, but I know that one thing about Kirk Cousins is he's done a really good job, or I guess his agent has done a really good job securing the guaranteed money. So I remember seeing the interview, and he's such a nice guy, it seems like, but he was definitely not happy about them, drafting a quarterback as early as they did. But at the same time, it's like, Kirk, you're getting paid either way. You're getting that money no matter if you're playing or not, brother. You're good.
Well, we're going to have some fun here. Let me bring this right up here, and I'm going to go to the big screen to help my eyes here as well. Super Bowl, NFL. Before we dive into the to the NHL tonight, and by the way, I don't know if your eyes saw this: 3 system plays, first period overs. I don't know if you caught those. So, here is wagerwire.com/graphs. Up to the second, live odds, $100 wager to win the Super Bowl, and I got the Kansas City Chiefs up there, who are currently 1-game lead over the Buffalo Bills. The Bills hold the tiebreaker in the AFC. So your initial thought here for $100, Andrew, are you going to take the 5-1 on the Chiefs to win the Super Bowl right now?
I think it's wrong if someone does not want to have them in their portfolio. And the thing is that we always say, Jeff, is that the word value only means getting something today that won't be there tomorrow, right? And I can't see that number getting too much worse at that point. Think about the Celtics last year. I know we're talking about football right now. Think about the Celtics last year. Who would have wanted to get in on them even around Christmas time, January, February? Who would have wanted to get? I mean, when a future bet is plus 350, who wants to bet that? Well, they won the NBA Finals. So this number might not look too intriguing, but hey, if they go to the Super Bowl again, or if they come close, then you gave yourself a pretty good chance.
Well, and again, I talk about this. We did this a couple years ago. Once the brackets were set up in the tournament, we needed some Eagles side. We needed some Chiefs side. So some of the books offered Super Bowl MVPs. So if you don't like the 5-1 price right now on Kansas City, see if your book offers Super Bowl MVPs. Because what we ended up getting was Jalen Hurts at 6-1 and Mahomes at 4-1. When they met in the Super Bowl, they were both plus 130 and one was even money. So keep an eye on that there.
The Brock Purdy. The Brock Purdy. That was the best. I mean, why take San Fran when you can take Brock Purdy to win the, MVP?
So here we go. We're spinning. The Buffalo Bills are plus 491. Again, 1 game back on the Chiefs and currently own the tiebreaker. We saw them dismantle the 49ers on Sunday night. What most teams don't want, I think, is the Bills to be hosting, because most likely in January, that type of game is what you'll be looking at. What's your thoughts? And now Allen, the favorite to in the MVP race for the regular season as well.
Well, I will say this. I mean, there have been some spots where people might not have thought they were going to show up this season, or there could have been flat spots and all these different things. And then they've continued to show out. This has been a pretty good season for them, and they've been consistent. They've had a run game, but Josh Allen just seems the biggest thing for him, Jeff, is that he's been as consistent as he's been. He hasn't been throwing turnovers. I remember there was a point in time where, some of his turnovers were acting as punts. He would throw the ball 65 yards and the other team would intercept it, and it wouldn't really be a bad thing. It would just be a punt on 3rd down pretty much. This team is the real deal. This team needs to be taken serious. Look at some of the moves that they made. I mean, look at Amari Cooper. I haven't seen the guy talk to the media so much in his whole career. I haven't seen the guy smile so much in his whole career. So it's interesting, but you got it's a log jam where they are right now. I mean, you look at some of the teams around them, these top, I would even say top 5 teams right now, as far as the futures. I think any of those teams can come out on top. What are you thinking about the Bills right now? I know one thing for sure is that this is the week that I've heard people loving them the most. Would you say, Jeff, on social media and people, this seems to be the week that people are really liking this Bills team right now?
1,000%. Again, don't forget public perception. We remember what we saw last, and this Bills team is cooking with Crisco. So again, that's why I just added the Ravens. I still think pound for pound, the best offense in football. Defense played better. Hate to say it, but the GOAT, Justin Tucker, I think was a big reason why they lost on Sunday. Had a chance to go up 10-0, miss the extra point. Field goal before the half to cut it to 14-13. Another missed field goal to start the 3rd quarter. You let a team like the Philadelphia Eagles hang around, Barkley get lathered up, and next thing you know, in comes Barkley, and the rest is history there.
What's going on with some of these old kickers this year? I'm a big fan of giving guys a chance, and you don't let go of guys that have done well for you. You don't lose trust in your guys, but at the same time, I mean, people are giving up on Justin Tucker. I saw CT Betts tweeting about Justin Tucker and a couple other guys, and people saying, "Hey, man, he has the rest of the season to figure out." And then the comment section was saying he's had all season to figure it out. I mean, some of these guys. I mean, even Koo for the Falcons, he has like 2 chip shot game winners, but during the actual game, he hasn't looked good either. There's been some teams that. I mean, who's the best guy in the league right now? Dicker the kicker? I don't know how many. There's only a few guys that are pretty consistent right now.
Actually, Boswell from Pittsburgh is leading the NFL in scoring from a fantasy perspective. And the last one that I will add in the AFC, a team that's leading its division, that's probably going to win its division. And I didn't have this on my bingo card, should be coach of the year. And of course, that's the Pittsburgh Steelers right now. Russell Wilson definitely cooking with Crisco. Other than that stupid game with Kirk Cousins on that Monday night that it was just back and forth here. I'll score, you score. He threw well over for 500 yards. Russell Wilson, actually the first quarterback this year to throw for over 400 yards last week.
How much do we buy into that? We'll see, but I actually do like this Steelers team. It seems like, and what do you think about the fact that sometimes they seem to be like cycling in both quarterbacks? That's been kind of weird. I've seen that on multiple occasions. That's interesting. I was saying to my friends the other day, Jeff, that I think I actually might jump in on the Pittsburgh Steelers. I might get involved. I think that watching the wager wire graphs over the next 3 or 4 weeks with this Pittsburgh Steelers team is going to be very intriguing, because I think this is the time slot. This is a time frame in the NFL season where you really want to see what a Pittsburgh Steelers team can do. And if you haven't gotten in on them and you don't get in on them, we're going to be talking in the second week of January 2025 and thinking, man, I really wish I didn't wait until they were 13-1, 14-1, At one point, they were 25-1, 30-1, and the number has certainly slipped and slipped and slipped. So, they're a team I want in on, Jeff. I think I might jump in on it today. I haven't done it yet, but they're a team I think I'm interested in jumping in on.
You're going to have to go through the Lions, it looks like. But again, Philly chomping at the bit. I mean, again, you're getting less than 3-1 on the Lions, and here come the Eagles. Right now at 5-1. Any interest in either one of those?
Well, with the way Saquon's playing for the Eagles, I mean, he's if it wasn't for Josh Allen and his consistency and the fact that he has 1 or 2 interceptions, Saquon Barkley should be the MVP of the whole league because of how he's been playing. The Lions is just putting on an absolute masterclass. Just the plays that they're running, the fact they're able to get so many guys involved, the fact that they never take their foot off the gas pedal, no matter who they are playing, has been very impressive to watch. But at this point, I need to see a hiccup from the Lions, and we haven't seen any hiccups from this team. But this Eagles team, would you say the Eagles, you talked about looking at MVPs, right, for the Super Bowl. What about if any book offers that? What if we take Saquon? What if we get a little greedy and we're like, you know what? If they do end up winning, it'll probably be because he takes them to. I mean, a lot of times, as you know, quarterbacks get it. It's very rare for a quarterback not to get it. But man, it wouldn't shock me if they went on a good run in the playoffs if Saquon had a big part of that.
Well, the funny thing you bring that up is the Lions. I know it's usually a quarterback, but I don't know, between Goff, St. Brown, between Gibbs, between Montgomery, you can't just go to the window and say, hey, instead of the 3-1, I'm going to take Jared Goff, because I feel more comfortable at the 3-1 than trying to handpick who the Super Bowl MVP would be for the Lions. For Philly, it would be a 2-horse race for me. If I'm going to go to the window and play Saquon Barkley, you still have to have a saver with Jalen Hurts, and it wouldn't be fitting without bringing in your Green Bay Packers at 15-1. You buying?
I think I am, because First of all, I just think that they've been going under the radar themselves a little bit this year. I really think they have, and a lot of it's probably been because they've just kind of slipped through the cracks. And even though we're talking about futures right now, have they been a huge covering team this year, Jeff? I don't think they have. They've covered a handful of point spreads, but they've been one of those teams where it's like win, don't cover, late night, late drive to win the game, late field goal kick. So it's been very close. And, I'd be lying to you if I didn't tell you I was sitting on my couch a handful of times this year on a Sunday, and Jordan Love has, made me almost lose my hair. And I like my hair. I don't want to lose it. But Jordan Love's been back to the old guy that used to kind of drive me crazy before. And then, of course, I have our pal Morency that always reminds me about how he bothered me last year. And then, of course, he went as far as he did in the postseason. So, would you say, like, looking at the odds, though, right now, that the Packers, obviously their number's the highest out of all the teams we just talked about, but would you say that they have the ability to definitely shock people the most out of all those? Because, everybody loves the Lions. Everybody loves the Bills. You know what I mean? Like, the Ravens, as you said, I think are that team that doesn't even need the hype because they're that strong. Like, I think if you punch in the Steelers and the Packers in your portfolio today, you're putting in two solid wagers. I truly believe that.
Well, and you want to set up the portfolio to give you out. So do you think the Packers can win a game? They did last year. They took a bite of the apple and they had San Fran beat. They were right there. So you learn from your mistakes, a la like Detroit. And again, trying to hold on desperately to that number one spot so they don't have to leave the dome. The same with the Steelers. Who did they get matched up against? That loss by the Bengals on Sunday basically puts a fork in them, not mathematically. So again, you got your Chiefs. Currently, you got the Bills. You got the Ravens, but again, the Ravens, a couple more hiccups, they could be outside looking in. The Texans struggling down the stretch. We haven't even talked about the Dolphins. So there's a handful of teams. So, look at the look ahead schedule for the next week or 2 weeks. If you thought the Packers were going to lose this week, if you thought the Steelers were going to lose, well, then you might want to hold off because one loss, maybe you get a little bigger value. But again, we still got a handful of weeks to go. But I thought it'd be kind of interesting. We've been doing the hockeys. I figured I'd throw you a curveball or a nice little 7-yard button hook and we throw some football at you.
Well, I like it, Jeff. And that's the thing is, like, it's nice because it makes you think about, like, it makes you take a look at what the books are thinking about these teams as well, right? And I think it helps you with your day-to-day handicapping as well. It helps you with your point spread handicapping because you look at it and you're thinking, okay, if this team's playing this team this week and this is the number we're getting for them, then why are they only 3.5 point dogs? Or you can kind of look at things that way. So it's intriguing, but I think obviously I'm cheering on the Pack, but I think I might be jumping on the Steelers bandwagon this year.
We'll get you a terrible yellow towel so you can start swinging that. Big slate in the NHL. Again, we talked 3 teams, 3 games hit that after a shutout. First period over. It'll be interesting to see. I'll be really cranking those out there, taking a look at them, really. I've slowed down a little on the hockey just because it's not as easy as it was to start the year to get that plus money 3.5 and get to 4. Some teams are very, very let's say offensive minded. Some others are spinning right now. I saw your timeline yesterday. We've talked about it the last 10 days. The Rangers are in desperate need, and their fans calling out Shesterkin is being washed out. About my Bruins. Hats off to Montgomery and the Blues. Quick little thought, because I know you got about 5, 6, 7 minutes with me till your next show. What's going on in the NHL and the good, the bad, the ugly?
The good, the bad, the ugly. The Florida Panthers, of course, the team that won the Stanley Cup, last season. They're really good again, to nobody's surprise. They're just off a weekend sweep over the Carolina Hurricanes. They're looking super solid. So watch out for them again, because it looks like there's definitely no question that they're probably going to come right back to the Stanley Cup Finals or at least the conference finals and make a really good playoff run. Over the weekend, something kind of interesting, Jeff, that I talked about on my show yesterday was a goaltender swap, a backup goaltender swap between Nashville and Colorado. And I know a backup goaltender swap might not mean a whole lot. Usually it's kind of like you'd think like trading bench guys in the NBA, but it's actually really interesting because it's one of those trades where if you ask me who won it, I would tell you it was very mutually beneficial for both teams. So pretty much Colorado has had goaltending issues, as we all know. Alexander Georgiev is their number one. They needed a veteran behind him. They needed a guy that's been around the block. Scott Wedgwood signed a contract with Nashville in the offseason, but they send him over to Colorado. And Wedgwood, he's been around the block. And now Onanen, who was Colorado's backup, he's a young guy, only in his early 20s. And he's now over there in Nashville. And the thing is, they had Askarov, who was the next Russian, top goaltender that requested a trade before he even played a game from Nashville because he was frustrated when they signed Rene to that big, they signed Saros to that big deal, and they signed Wedgwood. So he's over there in San Jose now, and he'll, watch out for San Jose because this team's actually looking good. Sell Brady, Smith, and those guys. Now they're going to have Askarov, but that's kind of an interesting trade. So that was something that happened over there, and it's kind of cool because it was a team that needed a veteran, got their veteran. A team that probably wanted to develop a younger guy, got their younger guy with Onanen. But looking at some of these teams right now, I'll tell you, I'm starting to notice something, and I guess this isn't breaking news to anybody, but back-to-backs, right? Everybody talks about back-to-backs in the handicapping world. I'm noticing that back-to-backs really have only been impacting bad teams. Like if you're a good team, you're getting value betting-wise on some of these teams. You're getting value on maybe their team totals. You're getting value on maybe a good number the night before you go to bed and wake up and that number has changed a little bit. But if you're not a good team, if you're in the bottom 5 of the league right now, these back-to-backs are killing you. Whether it's the Montreal Canadiens, whether it's the Chicago Blackhawks, maybe you're even the Columbus Blue Jackets, who have been a good team, but in these back-to-back situations have struggled a little bit. I have been certainly noticing it. And, to just go full circle here, we talk about those system plays. Everyone's betting now. One thing I've noticed, Jeff, and I know that we talk and I vent to you about my volume and how much I want to give out and how much I want to bet myself. One thing I have noticed about these system plays, a lot of the times, even if the first period's not going over, the full game finds its way going over too. And that can be frustrating. I took one of them, the over 1.5 last week, and the first period had 1 goal and the game finished with like 5-4 or something like that. So a lot of guys like Alex and Ian from the Ice Guys, they do both. They bet first period over and full game, but you can certainly see the desperation on these teams early and often when when they are coming off a shutout. So some of these teams, especially, and not even just a shutout, when they come off these bad performances, it's going to be tough. And 2 teams in the East that I'm looking at right now, I know they might not be comparable teams. 2 teams, the Ottawa Senators and the New York Rangers. The Ottawa Senators had analysts like Elliot Friedman writing the word playoffs on a paper and putting it on TV, saying that was his hot take of the year. Well, guess what? They only have 2 more points than the Montreal Canadiens, who are second last team in the NHL. And yet I watch them every single game. I'm not sure why. Then you look at certain teams, like the New York Rangers, that have lost 6 of their last 7 games. The only game that they won, I think they were gift wrapped a bunch of penalties from the Canadians. We won't get into that. Nobody wants to hear me complain. But they're trying to shop players. The problem is, Jeff, they're trying to shop players that have too many expiring contracts, too many bad contracts, and they're old. So it's super interesting right now. And I'll just go back to you with this one. One of the bets today, as far as that system, is taking a look at Vegas, but we're seeing over 1.5 in the first period. And I know that you and I've mentioned these so many times to you. I'm probably like 2 for 6 my whole life talking to you about these. I think this is the time that both teams score in the first period. Plus 140, Vegas and Edmonton.
I knew where you were starting to go there. I really, really did. So I know you got to head out there. Big board. Any quick revelation other than Edmonton and Vegas both to score for everyone watching here that you might want to give out as a free lean or anything that your eyes are seeing before your next show?
Well, the funny thing is we're getting a lot of 6.5s as far as that betting system today, Jeff. So it could be interesting. I think that the Kraken and Hurricanes game might have some goals overall. I mean, you look at the Kraken, that game Saturday, 6-0. Are you kidding me? That one was really tough. So obviously we talk about first period over 1.5s in games when a team is coming off a disappointing offensive effort, and obviously getting shut out is one thing. But this is one of those ones for me. Forget about that first period. I think they're going to have a really good game. I think it's going to be a tough game for the Seattle Kraken. I think I like the fact that this Carolina team is playing at home. If you're a team total better, just like you and I are, you look at this number and you say to yourself, well, I'm not sure how excited I am about betting this one. Well, you slide over to the first period, you bet that -0.5, or you just bet that full game over 6, because I know that we like to look at these team totals, Jeff, but the 3.5 is heavily juiced. I think that both teams get on the board tonight, and it's a high-scoring game. I always have to mention the Montreal Canadiens here. Islanders versus Canadiens. I think that even though it's the Patrick Laine debut, I have a feeling this one could actually be tight checking. Every game the Islanders play in, that's kind of the goal they want to play in. Montreal has had a bad 2 or 3 minutes in all their last 3 or 4 games. Really. Like in their game against the Boston Bruins, they gave up, I think, 3 goals in 1 minute and 45 seconds, Jeff. If it wasn't for those 1 minute and 45 seconds, every coach and player said they thought they had a really good game. And you can't do that in the NHL, but I think tonight, playing at home, getting the matchups you want, getting the last change, hold your breath, hold your nose. I think the under could be a good bet tonight, but you know who I'm cheering for in that one. So looking forward to it. And there was one more actually that I wanted to mention. Hold on. Winnipeg versus St. Louis. So St. Louis, obviously, they got off to a good start with their new head coach, Jim Montgomery. But I think that this is one of those things. As much as I like Montgomery, as much as I think St. Louis is a good team, usually you get that coach's bump. Now, after the coach's bump is over, now he's no longer just this new guy you have to impress. He's your hockey coach again. And I think you look at Winnipeg right now, they're a team that I want my money on. So I'm going to be looking at their team total in this game. And I might even go as far as taking it not just 3.5, 4.5, because I think the St. Louis Blues team is going to show some regression as far as their goaltending, but we'll see. But look for Winnipeg to have a good night tonight in the NHL.
Scroller's been going the whole time. Everyone here knows they can follow you on X at McInnis Picks, and of course at WagerTalk, WT.BuzzBlack /AM. What do you got to offer for all the listeners, Andrew?
Jeff, fun show. Nice to join you as always on a Tuesday. Always keep me on my toes. $5 Tuesday. We have all kinds of great deals, but I will just mention $5 Tuesday. Usually I decide to make that play, NHL play, but I decided to make it an NFL play. So I'm going to have that up in the afternoon. I've only had a handful of total plays this season, but I checked, and yesterday I was 7-1 on my last 8 NFL total bets. I released the over in the Browns-Broncos game, goes over by more than 20 points. Well, we're now 8-1, our last 9 NFL total bets. You guys can get my favorite total bet of the weekend for this Sunday over at WagerTalk for just $5. So that's about it for me, Jeff. Always look forward to starting Tuesdays with you, and I'll see you on Friday over on my channel.
Have a great day. Thank you so much, Andrew. A little overtime. Apologize to WagerTalk for me.
All good. That's on me. Thank you.
Take care. The one and only Andrew McInnis. Go follow him at McInnis Picks. Jump on over to wagertalk.com. Follow Andrew. $5 Tuesday. I'm going to go to a couple quick commercial breaks and then a quick story about last night, and then we'll be right back.
2,000 years long, we will never settle. Hard days, no way, with a heavy metal. No time, no fail, won't stop here. Like a torch to a flame when it burns hot. We won't stop. Come on, baby, higher. Like a torch to a flame when it burns hot. We won't stop.
ECSI fans, you want to ECSI fans, you want to revolutionize your sports investing habits? Allow me to tell you about WagerWire. WagerWire is an app that helps you become a superior bettor by allowing you to sync all your sports books and track all your bets in one place. See your current action, your betting history, and stats. You could also sign up for sports books and collect bonus offers. Follow them at WagerWire on X, as it's the best account on the platform. Head to App Store or Play Store now and search WagerWire and download the app. Let me see if I can hit this one. Give me 1 second here, and we're going to wrap it up. I got a funny story for you in the hardwood yesterday. It's comical. Everyone thinks this is easy, and as we're coming up on our 10-year anniversary, January 1st, we've had great success in the last 10 years, and we hope to obviously keep doing it. With all the sports coming together, the sports equinox, you lose baseball, in comes the NBA, NHL, college basketball, yada, 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 as we wind down from college football, and of course the NFL. Well, in the college basketball 2 years ago and last year, the market was real behind on the overs, and we hit a 25-5 run in December, taking us into January. And then last year we were able to start the season that way and then dove into the team total and great success. Well, this year we've had some great success early on team totals. And then I thought I cracked Da Vinci's code. And last week, actually 2 Sundays ago and into the week, we had 5 straight losses on team total unders, where we got 3-balled in the last 30 seconds for them to go over. So did some tweaking and stuff, and then had a nice 5-0 run to end the week last week. And we had a game last night. We had Jackson State team total over 66.5. And with 4 minutes and 55 seconds, they had 64 points. And then with 3 minutes to go, they had 66 points. And I'm just following the game, and I'm like, don't do this to us. And 30 seconds later, they had a missed layup, an offensive rebound, and a missed layup. And then with 30 seconds to go, they launched a 3. Now, these guys were 20-point underdogs. They were leading most of the game. They're down by 8 with 32 seconds to go. They launch a 3, miss, and they don't foul, and they landed on 66. So my point to the story is, you can follow whoever you want on social media. You can think that they're the best thing since sliced bread, and they're pumping out any angle that can make them look good. How many people have been here 10 years, first of all? How many people do 1 to 3 live shows a day? How many people bring on the best of the experts and talk about their losses? You win with the best of them, you lose with the best of them. And yesterday was, that was our only play yesterday. And we talked on the closing bell. Anyone that watched the closing bell last night got the Denver defense prop to score. I called the Jerry Jeudy revenge game. Big game from him. He scores. So my point of the matter is, stick to what's working, guys. Come on back. And again, if you're looking for people that work for you, that don't sleep, I am telling you, sleep to me is boring. I'll sleep plenty when I'm 6 feet under staring at the daisies. So if you have any questions, comments, concerns, head on over to Twitter at EC Sports Invest. DM me there. You can jump on over to our website at eastcoastsportsinvestors.com. price and planning right on top there. $3 a day, every play, every prop, every future, every breakdown sent to your cell phone via text and email for $3. If you went into your car or your couch and you pulled out the cushions, you probably got about $3 there in change. Tomorrow, 11 a.m. Eastern, Brady Kannon back to talk some NFL. We'll talk a little PGA. Sounds like Tony Finau heading to Live, and he will be bringing his own team. So it'll be interesting if anyone jumps ship with him as well there. And then Tyler Wyatt at Tyler Wyatt Bets. And of course, Odds Culture will be back. And then potentially the closing bell at 5 o'clock with Riley. Unless I am with Anthony Pepe, Food Truck Festivals of America, the Diehards National Radio Show, working with him for BC Yukon Hockey East at Conti Forum. So for myself, Jeff Dawson at EC Sports Invest, the one and only Andrew McInnis at McInnis Picks, we wish everyone a blessed day. And shout out to, of course, Russell Saylor. He says Riley was all over in Joko and said the Broncos don't cover without a late pick six. Mr. Saylor, he was spot on, and it was interesting. Again, we got the Denver, not one, but 2 pick six. And I thought that last pick would have been a third one. I had them on a couple of my good fantasy teams. I mean, we got 22 points out of them, but I wouldn't have mind 28 or 29. So everyone have a blessed day. Enjoy yourselves, and we will see you soon.